Ever since I can remember, I've been a huge fan of comic books. So one day, while visiting a comic book store in San Francisco, I ran into this. A flyer leading me to an up-and-coming comic book writer's GoFundMe page. I'm David Rosales, and from there I got in contact with the writer and he agreed to answer some questions for me. This is Enrique Morales, a Latino comic book writer born and raised in San Francisco, with a dream of getting his own comic book, specter-x, published. Let's follow Enrique as we learn what it takes to get specter-x from conception to the shelves. This is his story.
I wanted to give San Francisco its own superhero. Like, I wanted to give it a character that was born, raised, and represented San Francisco, and I felt that it came to a point where I want to make him Latino. I started, writing down outlining and sort of coming up with who is this character. Like, I based it a little bit off myself. He's your average teenager living in SF, lived around the Mission, goes to high school, has ambition to want to be an actor. He takes martial arts as a way to discipline himself, and one day after an accident, by chance, he develops powers of that are basically ghost powers. He is intangible, he can fly, he can be invisible.
Now, Enrique just needs a story.
So I spent a good number of years trying to polish that script off. I polished it. Each one I gave him, he kept saying, it's good, but it's not there. It's good, it's not there. And because of that, it was kind of frustrating at times. It wasn't until I think 2012, it was almost by accident that I ended up writing a golden script. And when Sterling read that script after I edited it and changed it, he loved it. He said, he called me and said, this is good. He said this was good, and after like many years of revisions, he felt this was pure gold, and I felt like, okay, now I have something to work with. Now I have something to throw out. So I threw my script around to a lot of artists.
While looking for artists, Enrique came across an extraordinary one.
Jason Taines is this artist that I met him on Facebook. He initially contacted me on Facebook because when I put the ad out that I was looking for an artist for offering them to pay, he was the first one. And after 24 hours after reading the script, he had sent me a drawing of what specter-x was going to look like, and I thought, this is perfect. This is the guy that I felt like is perfect for this project. This started coming around, I believe, November. So he had been working on this, just polishing off a few things and sending me stuff. And when he did this, I was just like, this is great. I can't wait to see how it looks. I was really hoping he would do the next 5 pages.
But while lacking funds, Enrique is finding it difficult to pay his artist.
I'm still under 25% towards my goal, which is, so it's still kind of low. I was hoping I would have gotten up to my goal by now, because it seemed like I was going to get to my goal when I was getting like 100, 200 a week. I felt like, well, at this rate, I can finish it. I can get to my goal by January. But by that point, I started getting less donations and less people throughout that point. And finally, I hadn't gotten donations since January. It's kind of frustrating a little bit. Well, I still haven't managed to get as much completed as I had hoped to because of the lack of funds. It's something that my artist is kind of wondering if he's going to get the rest paid after it, because it's like at this point it's like he's like, well, I'm hoping you can reach to your goal so you can continue to pay me to finish the work. But it's like, again, it's like I'm very low on funds, unfortunately, at this point. So I'm really hoping that once I get to the goal, I'll be able to afford to cover the rest of the expenses of the comic.
Enrique is not the only one experiencing difficulties. The artist has also been having a hard time completing specter-x.
And he's going through some things right now that is kind of getting in the way of him being able to do the comic. He says that once he has more time, he'll be able to finish it faster. He did say that this may be his last issue that he'll do, since he only signed on to do issue 1. So it's very likely after this he'll move on, and after that I'll have to find another artist. But hopefully, he says he does promise he's going to finish issue 1 as soon as possible.
To get more donations, Enrique has been working hard to get publicity for specter-x.
Publicity has been hard because I'm just one person. While Jason is drawing and the script is done. So naturally you think the writer's job's done, but no, it's not. Since I'm only one person, I've been solely the one trying to promote specter-x, or trying to get people just mostly to donate. One of the things I did was Facebook has been really helpful. Obviously, I just sort of posted a lot of my link to my site to a lot of my friends, and I got a lot of donations from family and friends. It's just been kind of an uphill battle. It's just been an uphill struggle to kind of get people interested in. I posted like probably hundreds of flyers throughout the Bay Area, trying to see if people were interested in looking at the project, and I probably had a lot of people view it, and but it's still kind of slow. It's still kind of slow, unfortunately.
It looks like getting a comic book on the shelves is a lot harder than it seems. To get more information, I asked some local comic book store owners for advice on publishing specter-x.
So getting donations through like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or any sort of source funding things has turned out to work really well for some people, but you really need to build up an online following, and typically by releasing a lot of free content, like on a blog or a website that people can read some of the comic at least for free, and then people who really like it would be willing to buy the book when you have one.
I recommend that he just works and produces work. It's just all about working and getting yourself out there and letting people see your work and producing more and showing it to people, and eventually something works.
And also there are some publishers, especially just independent comics publishers, who actually approach authors and say like, hey, let's publish a compendium of your strip. And so this is actually material that's already been released online for free, which is then put in a book on our shelves that people can buy.
There are people who have done webcomics and have made it, because it's definitely the way everything's going. It's not everybody can afford to print anything and wander all over the place, but then you have to figure out how to wander all over the internet to get people to saying, hey, look at my stuff, look at my stuff. It's the same thing. Look at my stuff.
I really hope that when people think of superheroes, they'll think of the phenomenal specter-x. When you go down the mission, you'll see a bunch of stores making specter-x piñatas. Or I hope that we get to see a giant billboard of specter-x in San Francisco saying, welcome to San Francisco, or something, that he'll be welcomed into San Francisco as one of the unofficial mascots of SF.